welcome in to
Hello there.
We Have Fun. Thank you for the follow, Kieran. Welcome into We Have Fun mystery May Mystery Month. Here we are for round one, and we're doing RPL for this evening. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have all the drivers in to spin the wheel here, and in order that you're selected will be the order of the car that you're in. Although we'll maybe put someone in Aston, because I feel like the Aston McLaren's better than the Alpine. We don't want anyone in the Alpine, but we're gonna have everyone in. We'll do it in the order of. I'll add dynamic to this, and Orlando. That should be everyone who should be joining the lobby at this point. And I'll just double check that everyone's joining the lobby. Just everyone listening, make sure to join the lobby while I do this. Let's get that up again. But we're going to start the draw here. And in order that you're selected will be the order, or will be the car that you're in. So we're going to just start here with a spin. Who's going to get both Red Bulls? We will see. We're going to start off. Oh, it was almost Axe, but it will be JG. It'll be JG who gets the Red Bull. So brilliant start for JG. And let's see who's next in the other Red Bull. It's gonna be Jaden. Jaden in the other Red Bull. And then next we have the Ferraris. Let's see who it's gonna be. It's gonna be Ethan. TR Ethan in there. Ethan. And let's see who's next here. For the other Ferrari, it's going to be Ultra. Ultra in the Ferrari. I think we'll do... Should we do Mercedes or McLaren? First, it'll be... Luxury just about gets the Mercedes. He gets the seat that he had last season. Gets to keep it. Next. Let's see who's next. For the other Mercedes, I think we'll go McLaren before we go Aston. Got VRL Kieran. He was close to getting the Mercedes, and he finally does get the Mercedes. I think we'll now do... I feel like Aston's quicker on this game. If anyone wants to complain, let me know. But it's going to be Parallel Harry in the Aston. And his teammate will be Ethan. And I think we'll go for McLaren next. Should I skip Alpine? I feel like Alfa Romeo will be the next quickest car. That'll be Axe in the McLaren. Let's see who's his McLaren teammate. It will be GB or Freddy. It's close. Oh, Freddy just about gets it. It's gonna be Freddy. Oh, one of my keys has fallen off. Love that. And Freddy next up. Let's see. Did I type in Freddy? What was Freddy? Why is it still Freddy? Right, we need to remove Freddy because he's got the McLaren. Somehow picked Freddy anyway. Who's next? It's gonna be Dynamic in. Dynamic, you're in the chat. What car do you want? You've got Alpine, Alfa Romeo, Haas, AlphaTauri, or Williams. I don't even know which is the quickest out of these. It's Alpine, Alfa Romeo, or AlphaTauri really are the quickest, but I don't know which one's actually quickest in game. Not quite sure. While you do that, I'll see if I can get more invites. Alpine or Alpha, says Axe. We'll give you the Alpha Dynamic because we just don't even want to see the Alpine. Next, who is going to be his teammate? And then I feel like one of the drivers is going to have the Alpine because Axe says that's one of the quicker cars. It's going to be Orlando. And if GB is here, what car do you want? I'll give GB free pick for any of the other cars. But let me just take a picture of the grid and send it into tier 1. But until then, we're going to move back on through onto the game. And let's click on that. We'll see if we can get more people back in. There's Ultra. Who else needs? Yesterday, it's 3. Do people want to do Australia? How do you feel about that in the chat? Australia? How do we feel about Australia? And who are we missing as well? I also need to test something really quick. Let's see, does this work? It works. It works. Oh, perfect. All right, we're almost ready to go. Who's missing in the chat? We've got everyone in. We're missing GB and is Duo's in. Ultra says, is GB gonna But I'm excited to see what happens here. We're gonna flick over now over the gameplay. You don't need to look at my ugly mug any longer. Yeah, let's click on the thingamabob so that we can hear some of the audio. But I've given drivers a couple minutes. Hopefully it allows you to pick your strategies if you're listening. Yesterday we did a similar thing and it would not let us pick our strategies. And I think that's because we were doing fixed setups. Whereas now we have it on preset, so you've got some choice over your setup. But they're still presets, and hopefully it allows the drivers to pick what tires they want to go on, because yesterday it just gave us no choice at all, so that was annoying. But anyway, welcome all in. I hope you are enjoying using the channel points, as I've seen some of you spamming them. Although, now that I've realized this, need to just do this really quick. Was it in this? Or was it in this one? Ah. Over here. Hopefully this should still work. I feel like the sound alerts weren't coming up. But now, hopefully the sound alert should come up. I'll double check it. Let me put a sound alert in just to double check that it is working. Yep, that's what was needed. Anyway, the drivers should be ready up in 1 minute, and we will have our round 1 of Tier 1 WHF. Here, what we've done for round 1 is we're doing realistic performance. We did a draw to see what drivers would get which car to spice things up. And it'll be exciting to see who finishes where in this race. But as it is 7:55, hopefully the drivers have readied up now, and you should start to hear the ding 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 for whenever everyone starts to come around. And you can hear that chime. So I think hopefully it has let the drivers pick all their strategies at least. And also what we've done is also a random grid, so this is going to spice things up as well. And funnily enough, some of our quicker drivers are at the front, that including Axe, but Freddie in the McLaren starts us off into turn 1, trying to defend from Harry and Kieran, but Harry round the outside. Lovely move from Harry in the Aston, gets into P1. Meanwhile there's Axe in behind, looking for the move. Side by side he goes with Kieran, and Axe in the McLaren looking for a way through. As Jaden Lomax has picked up a pen, as we're 3 wide almost, and Dynamic Duo has to back out of that move. But we're all over the place as side by side go GB and Ultra through the high speed right. Still they go, bumping tires are Ultra and GB, and Ultra in the Ferrari gonna finally get this move done. Meanwhile, if we move up to the front again, Freddie right up the rear of Parallel Harry, and they got Axe and Kieran in behind as well. The McLaren ahead of Axe goes defensive on Kieran. Meanwhile, Harry trying to pull a gap. But Kieran and Freddie still side by side here. Intense battling. Oh, and Kieran's been forced offline. A little bit of contact with the side pod of Freddie. Kieran's dropped the position to Ethan as well here, as Axe is going to overtake Freddie into P2, as Harry now has escaped up the road 1.5 ahead, as Freddie now going to look for the move on Axe, but thinks better than going for the move. We're going to check what tyre everyone's on. A mixed set of tyres for everyone on the grid, it seems, as JG in the Red Bull, Orlando and Luxury already in for stops, potential damage involved. But the majority of the drivers have got through cleanly. We currently have Ultra Titan on the back of Dynamic Duo. Side by side he goes with the Alfa Romeo. And in that realistic Ferrari, Ultra already cutting his way through the field. Meanwhile, we've got Jaden in the realistic Red Bull with some desync as Orlando picks up a time pen. We've got the Aston Martin of Ethan dancing all over the rear of Freddie. Sends it in, looking for the move. Still side by side they go as Jaden in the Red Bull looking for a way through if he can get it. Has to back out of the throttle though, as these two drivers still side by side. In behind, there's the Mercedes looking for a move as well, as Dynamic Duo looking for a move. And trying to protect from Ultra. Jaden now ahead of Freddie. Might get ahead of the Aston as well. Jaden into turn one. Lovely move for the Red Bull, but it's a lovely switchback from Ethan. And Jaden very compromised, but still will have another run on Ethan, who's on these hard tyres, but still fighting well. Jaden loses the rear into the side pod of Ethan. May have even caught Freddie in that incident as well. Freddie now all over the rear. Such close racing here, as Dynamic Duo touches the rear of Kieran, loses it, and he's in the wall, and that's Dynamic Duo gone. And that could be an early safety car, and it is. Dynamic Duo out early on in this race, and it says lap 3 safety car. And I'm sure Dynamic Duo not happy with that, as you can see in the chat. Not happy, and we'll have to see, does he have an onboard of his to send of his POV to the stewards, so that they can have a look at that incident, because I don't know if he could contact from the rear behind of Ultra in the Ferrari, who was following very closely, or was it just Dynamic Duo losing the rear? Meanwhile, parallel Harry, Axe already into the box. Ethan stayed out, Jaden stayed out as well. Ultra Titan also into the box off the softs early here. And let's see what tyres all these runners are going for. Ultra's gone for the hards. Meanwhile, Axe and Harry have both gone for the mediums, as Jaden onto the safety car picks up another time penalty, which I'm sure will not help him at the end. But Maravich in the chat, if you do have a clip on it, send it into the stewards and it'll be dealt with, and you won't have to worry. A pen will be coming his way in the event it is his fault. Meanwhile, we do have JG back in again and Orlando back in again. And Ultra in the chat says that there was lag, which I am seeing some desync here out on circuit, so I'm wondering, are the drivers struggling with that as well? But GB now out on the softs, and GB unfortunately drew the short straw, because he was last in the draw. I did give him a free choice of car. I wasn't sure what the quickest car was out of the bottom 4 or 5 teams. But unfortunately, in the Alpine he is. But currently, Good start for Ethan on the hard tyres, on the strategy he'd want to be on, and is leading the race. Has Jaden in behind, who is in the realistic Red Bull. You need to adjust near clip plane in camera settings. What is that? Graphic settings? Near clip plane. Where is that, Zampa? Near clip plane. Camera settings? I mean, it's a bit different on PC because I just have graphic settings. I do not see near clip plane. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do. Anyway, moving back on in, we'll have a quick look at the penalties. Jaden has a 6-second luxury, and Orlando have themselves 3 seconds of time penalties. And if you look at the position changes, it's Ethan up 5, Jaden up 8, and JG up 2. But I'm sure in that realistic Red Bull we'll see more positions gained from JG if he can avoid some of the incidents that he ran into on lap 1. But on board with Ethan. Orlando at the back of the grid here. Meanwhile, and I'm interested to see, can Ethan get a good restart on these hards? Does Jaden's soft still have life in them to put pressure on Ethan? Because if Jaden can get ahead here, he could disappear down the road in that realistic Red Bull. And I'm sure Ethan is aware of that, so he wants to leave this restart as late as possible. But he hasn't left it as late as possible. He's went there now, and you can see in behind a couple drivers side by side into turn 1, such as the likes of Ethan and Kieran. As Kieran's gone off! Kieran off into the wall, and big damage for the Mercedes. I'm sure is unhappy with that incident. Meanwhile, Ultra and Axe side by side here. Side by side, the Ferrari and the McLaren, as the McLaren, oh, and Ultra's forced off track. Ultra forced onto the grass as Harry and Freddie here right up close with each other as Harry picks up a time penalty. Trying to find a way through for the move. As we see Jaden now round the outside of Ethan. Gets into the lead of the race. Can he build a gap on those softs? But a lovely switch back yet again from Ethan. But Jaden deploying the battery, trying to keep ahead of Ethan, which he does just that as Freddie defending from Axe now. Axe looking for the switch back on Freddie. Axe sends it in. Lovely send from the McLaren of Axe as Ultra sends it in behind. Ultra sending it on Freddie, and Freddie being swarmed a little bit here. Has to defend from the Ferrari, but the Ferrari all over the rear now of Ultra. And Ultra now into P5. Is Luxury even a look for the move as well? Freddie really struggling here. Facing pressure from all over. As Luxury now on the inside, as there's a Red Bull going round. That's of JG. JG struggling again here. As Luxury does make the move on Freddie. As Kieran in to fix the front wing, and GB and JG are going to have to, as well as Jaden's out. Jaden's in the wall. He's lost it. Where we seen Albon lose it as well. And one of our Red Bulls is already out here on lap 7. 7 laps into this race, our second safety car, and JG's just retired in the pits. I wonder did JG have rear wing damage or something that did meant the car was undrivable, but both Red Bulls out of this race, which just leaves potentially a spicy end into the race. Meanwhile, Ethan comes in, and it seems everyone coming in except for Ultra Titan, who's going to stay out and inherit the lead here, who had already boxed onto 4-lap Old Hards. And we will see, is that the way to go for the Ferrari driver in Ultra Titan? Ultra in the chat says Red Bull washed. And I feel for the Red Bulls. Jaden unfortunately losing it, and JG just seemed to be having a couple incidents, which just meant he never really got a proper chance to show what he could do in that Red Bull. Meanwhile, everyone on fresh tyres here, except for Ultra Titan. Kieran had just boxed following his incident where he ended up in the wall, some wing damage. Meanwhile, Ultra this time will get us restarted, but in behind he has Ethan on mediums, Axe on softs, Harry on hards, Freddy on softs, Luxury and Orlando on mediums, and Kieran on softs, GB on the hards. And at this point I couldn't tell you who is the right strategy, because I would say the hards could go to the end from here, but there's already been 2 safety cars, so you never know. There could be another safety car, which could help the likes of Axe or Ethan if it comes at the right time. But you would hope that we could avoid another safety car. As Orlando and GB back into the pit lane, and we'll see what tyres they go on to. Orlando onto the softs, GB onto the mediums, and mediums going 21 laps I think is a bit of a stretch, but maybe GB could pull it off. We will see. But meanwhile, I think the drivers who have avoided penalties will be in the strongest position in this race. Ultra, Ethan, Axe, and Kieran, all who have avoided penalties. And Kieran thankfully gets that damage fix that he had earlier. But the safety car should be in this lap. We do have everyone caught up to the back of the pack. And it will be the Ferrari of Ultra Titan getting us restarted here. As the cameraman has been left behind, it seems. He just didn't want to catch up there. But can the Ferrari get a good restart here? He is on the used hards in comparison to Ethan's compared to Ethan's mediums and Axe's soft. But can Ultra get a good restart here? And he has. He's absolutely dropped Ethan 7/10ths back, so that does give him the gap that he would like. Good restart there for Ultra Titan. Meanwhile, if we move down, we've got Kieran in the softs now, on the back of Luxury. As GB close to the rear of Orlando as well here in the Alpine. Moving back up again to the front though. Ultra did have a good restart, but it did not last long. Already has that Aston Martin waiting in the wings. And can Ethan find a way through before he has the McLaren of Axe looking for a way through as well? But round the outside now, Ethan has a look. Has to back out of it though. Ultra keeping that position. And great racing here from these three as Axe and the McLaren now looking for a move round the outside of Ethan. And Ultra going to protect from both there. But Ethan has to get on the curb, ran a little bit into the rear of the Ferrari as Axe now round the outside. Lovely move from the McLaren to sweep around the outside as Ethan looking for another switchback here. But a lovely move from the McLaren of Axe there. As Kieran sets the fastest lap now. Trying to find a way through, and he actually has got a way through on his Mercedes teammate in luxury. Meanwhile, Axe now round the outside of Ultra Titan. Into turn 3 here, side by side. They go a little bit of contact with the wheels of Axe and Ultra, and that may allow Ethan on the inside as well here. Ultra picks up a time penalty, but that may be removed because we all know about that corner in Australia. It's a bit broken. Meanwhile, Harry's going round. There's another safety car. It's Kieran has ran into the side, I think, of Harry, who was sidewards on the track. Unbelievable there. But another safety car here on lap 11. But Axe now has inherited P11, but chaotic. I've never seen so many safety cars in tier 1. This is our... Is this our third? Fourth? I'm confused. How many safety cars is that now? But Axe now into the pit lane. Harry's picked up a time penalty. Axe onto the hards. Could be to the end. Luxury picking up time penalties entering the pit lane, as well as Kieran. And Kieran's just retired from the session. Has been very unlucky here, has Kieran. GB is doing a last to first, and he's done it successfully at this point. But can GB make it work? I believe the hards will easily go to the end from here. Even the mediums could go to the end from here. And GB looking to extend his stint under the safety car should actually help him make it to the end, but everyone else will have fresher tyres. I wonder what Harry's doing. I'm sure Harry will have to box again because he does have that 5 second that he will want to get removed. GB says I won't make it to the end. I think you could pull it off, GB. You just gotta have the right mindset. You just gotta want it enough, you know. You just gotta, have the right mindset. Embrace the grind. But anyway, couple of drivers with pens that may be removed because we all know about that susceptible corner in Australia, where if you go off there, it's an immediate 3 second, which is just dumb. Why that keeps happening? Because we did see Ultra go off there and it was an immediate penalty, and I'm not sure if he had the warnings, but maybe if we look at the race director, we'll see. Let's even check the race director while we're waiting. Mid-session race director check. And yeah, it says all on lap 11. Ultra has got 6 seconds on lap 11. I mean, we did see him go off track momentarily, but that would have been just one warning. And instead, it seems he's gotten like 5 in 1 lap. So if we look at the penalties, it's now 6 seconds to GB, 6 seconds to Ultra, 3 to Orlando, 3 to Freddy, 6 to Luxury and Harry respectively. But GB in the chat says 6 seconds to be removed, and I'm honestly expecting it at this point. Australia does have some buggy have some buggy track limits. But it is GB in the Alpine who's going to get us restarted here. We're going to get the tyre graphic up again here. And GB on the mediums with the McLaren of Axe in behind. The hard runner of Ethan in the Aston Martin. And Ultra Titan in the Ferrari as well. But anything could still happen in this race because we've had several different leaders in this race at this point. And GB leading a tier 1 race, which is not something I can say I've done in quite some time. GB almost had the tier 2 championship last season in WHF, but unfortunately missed 2 races, which ultimately cost him the victory. But GB, one of the quick drivers here in WHF, can he get a good restart here? And it already looks like he has got a good restart. Pulled half a second on Axe, as Axe now may be under pressure from Ethan, but it may be even the Ferrari of Ultra Titan, who could look for a move into turn 1. And he does have a little luck, but doesn't send it in. Doesn't want to try anything too over the top. Meanwhile, Axe in the McLaren on the rear, looking for a way through. We've got Luxury and Freddy side by side. Luxury sends it on the inside and round the outside, gets that move done. Lovely move from the Mercedes of Luxury, as Freddy losing out now to the Mercedes of Luxury. Harry all over the rear on these fresh softs. Meanwhile, Axe gets ahead of GB, and GB may even lose out to Ethan as well. It looks like GB's just pulled to the side because he knows he does have those older tires, so maybe if we can use the DRS of the cars ahead, he can keep that move, or well, even just keep that position. Meanwhile, we do have Freddy, who has dropped to P8. Parallel Harry on those fresh softs has got up to him. Meanwhile, GB under pressure now from Ultra, and he runs into the back of Ethan, who made a big error into the penultimate corner, and that has let Axe immediately 1.4 seconds up the road. That big error from Ethan could have cost him dearly here, as Ultra still following GB along. As Luxury now round the outside of Orlando, bit of contact between the Mercedes and Orlando as Harry sends it in side by side with Orlando. More contact with Orlando and Harry. Harry has to back out. Orlando was way off track onto the grass. Just didn't get the turn in that he was wanting. Took too wide a line on entry there. Meanwhile, Ultra now on the rear of GB, and all of this battling is just allowing Axe to disappear up the road. And Ultra now looking for a bit of a switchback. It's a lovely run on GB, and on the inside could get that move done on Ethan. Meanwhile, GB tries to sign in around the outside, locks the rears. Little bit of contact with Ultra Titan there, as Luxury's trying to send it in. More contact involved, and GB now. Oh, there's contact between Harry and GB. There's a massive pile-up. Massive pile-up there, as the DRS enabled, but a massive pile-up there. GB and Luxury involved, Orlando involved. It seemed like almost 5 cars involved there. Orlando retires in the pits unhappy with how his races went. Meanwhile, Ultra's fallen off the back of Ethan momentarily, as Luxury's also retired in the pits as well. And it has been a chaotic race here in Australia. And Ultra just about, I believe, has the DRS. He doesn't have it open, but may have the DRS on the next lap here. But Ultra now inside the DRS of Ethan. But Ethan, remember, does have that time penalty. Doesn't have time penalties. Meanwhile, Ultra does. But Ultra still may get removed. So I wouldn't use that as a measure. But already 6 retirements here in this race with 12 laps to go. And we've got Ultra Titan on the rear now of Ethan. May look to send it around the outside. And he does just that on Ethan. And gets through into P2. But does he have the tyre life to escape from Ethan? Is the question. If Ethan can just hold on to the DRS of Ultra, by the end of the race, Ethan's hards will be a lot stronger. And should be able to make a move back again on Ultra. But will Ultra be able to escape on these mediums? That is what we have to wait here and see. Oh, and Ultra's a big snap mid-corner. And that may open the door to Ethan, who's even touching the grass, looking for a move on Ultra Titan. Ethan all over the rear of Ultra. Just needs to hold on to the DRS here, but that mid-corner snap almost made Ethan go for a move, but now he's 8/10 back. So he just needs to compose himself to stay with. Meanwhile, Harry, who is on the softs, is catching this battle, but you gotta remember, Harry probably has to box again. I don't see those softs going to the end from here. Harry may have to do a soft from here. And may need to box 2 laps from now, I'd say, in order to make his strategy work, unless another safety car will save him. But I don't see it happening. Meanwhile, up front, Axe has pulled a 3.5 second gap, which the battling behind has really benefited Axe here to pull that gap, and it should be a comfortable race to the end for Axe, as he knows Ultra and Ethan in behind continue to battle, and Ethan picking up that time penalty there is really the nail in the coffin, as he's looking for a move round the outside of Ultra, but nothing doing there. But Axe now has almost pulled a second in the lap to the cars behind. Ultra being still put under pressure by Ethan, which has added to the time that Axe is gaining, as Freddy picks up a time penalty here. And in the end, Axe may win by a much bigger margin due to all the penalties, as Harry picks up another one. Very surprising to see so many penalties in for Tier 1 here. But as mentioned at the start, it was all preset setups for the drivers, so a bit harder to drive on the preset setups, as we all know, as you don't have the same feel for the car. But Ethan has spun Ultra into the wall, and that's another safety car. And I don't know if that was Ultra going for a move that wasn't done. It seemed like Ethan really had that move completed But contact with Ultra on the rear. And Ethan has spun Ultra into the wall as Harry almost runs into the rear of Ethan. Very strange here. Everyone's certainly under the sauce, but Ethan's somehow lost out to Harry here. In one of the strangest races I've seen in WHF history, we're going to have 5 cars at most finishing. And big contact between Ethan and Ultra. And I'm sure the stewards are going to see that one. As we're probably going to see many incidents. You didn't think from 12 drivers there'd be so many incidents. But for some reason, whenever there's more drivers, there's some more chaos. I don't know what it is. Just everyone feels like the win is on and must go for broke. GB, if you're listening to the stream, I would box onto the sauce from here. Or even the mediums, if you have any spare. Because you won't see much benefit from trying to go on slightly used hards in the end. I would just go for the softs. Because the safety car should probably not be in this lap. Although it may be. But unfortunately for Tier 1, we're probably going to see a lot of penalties here in this race. But Axe now on the mediums. Meanwhile, he's got Harry and Ethan in the Astons in behind on fresh softs. There's Freddie in behind on the mediums. And it's strange to see how it's Aston and Alpine, or no, Aston and McLaren, really the only survivors, along with the lone Alpine of GB Sanderson. Strange how it's those 2 cars and GB making it through. But GB, box, GB, box. There we are, GB. GB with the biggest brain on planet Earth. Boxing onto, I assume, softs. Let's see what he goes for. Yep, softs to the end for GB. And he's going to actually have a 1 lap fresher tyres than everyone else. And those little percentages matter, as I tell my significant other. Meanwhile, Axe driving through the safety car. Interesting. Anyway, moving onward. Harry did overtake Ethan under the safety car, but it seemed like Ethan was going considerably slower than he should be doing, which was a little strange. So, following the incident with Ethan and Ultra, not quite sure what happened, but I'm sure it will see the steward's desk and the stewards will decide who was at fault. Anyway, still have 7 laps to go and only 5 runners remaining, which I think... Oh, and Ethan has overtaken Harry, but Harry's gone back through again. I think the safety car is coming in this lap. Axe going to get us restarted here. And I think this may be probably the least amount of finishes we've ever had in Tier 1, to my knowledge. I mean, I get this is May Mystery Month, so maybe it's a bit more chaotic. A lot of drivers going for broke because they know it's not really a proper championship, in the sense it's not a full-length championship. But Axe, regardless, wants the win here. Trying to defend from Harry, he's on these soft tyres. Meanwhile, Ethan in behind, as Freddie's had a horrific restart already 1.5 seconds off the lead 3 as Harry sent it on Axe, and big contact between Harry and Axe, and it's allowed both Astons through into the lead as Ethan's picked up a time penalty at the corner that we're all aware of, just gives you penalties for free. But Axe, I'm sure, is not happy with that coming together with Harry. And I wonder, will that incident see the steward's office as well? Just absolutely chaotic driving. A lot of people, when I've been saying this is called the May Mystery Month, a lot of people have said that this is May Mystery Mayhem or something. And no, it's not Mayhem. Oh, it is Mayhem, never mind! Harry almost causing a big incident with his teammate Ethan. Meanwhile, Axe looking for a move through. But just to let you all know, the chat, this is not supposed to be named Mayhem, but a lot of the drivers are driving thinking it is. Meanwhile, GB now on the rear of Freddy, looking for a move. Freddy going defensive, trying to defend from the Alpine of GB. Meanwhile, Ethan's got through and Harry seems to have made a big error out of turn 2. But Axe, I'm sure, wants to recover and win on track here, despite the penalties ahead for the drivers ahead. And speaking of the drivers ahead, it's Harry looking on the outside of Ethan, and he's put him in the wall! He's put his teammate in the wall! He's put his teammate in the wall! What has happened? What is happening? What is happening? And Harry's just killed himself. Right. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. What is the point, lads? Ultra in the chat says yippee. Oh my god, this is probably the Tier 2 have never did something this bad. This is impressive, lads. And you can't even blame me, because I'm not even racing, so what has happened, lads? All composure has went out the fucking door. Never in my life have I seen just whatever this is. Total, welcome back in the chat. I can't even explain what chaos is this. This isn't even tier 2. If this was tier 2, you'd be like, what is tier 2 doing? But this is tier 1, and it's like, and now there's a safety car. I didn't even realize I knew there was a VSC. Didn't even realize there was a bloody a full safety car out. Toll 420 has redeemed an emu moment. Been a while since we've heard an emu moment, but this has been the biggest emu moments of all time. Jesus Christ. But regardless, it is now basically a three-way battle for the podium between Freddy, GB, and Ethan. And Axe, as long as he doesn't get any pens, should have the win. But at this point, is anyone going to finish? I'm scared. I'm honestly scared that there might not be anyone finishing. As Freddy coming in for the softs could be the smart move. Ethan in behind also on the softs. And they could have a lot of pace in hand using those soft tires. So Freddy could be in for a very, very good position here. Yep, total 420. Couldn't be more accurate. But anyway, I'm blown away by the driving here. But the safety car will be in this lap, and hopefully there's no more crashes, but I honestly no guarantees at this point, lads. There's 4 laps to go. Can Tier 1 keep it clean? Who knows? This has been the worst showing I've ever seen from Tier 1 in my whole life, and I've been with SSR since 2020. 2020, and it's now 2024, 5 years on, and we are looking at this. Anyway, restart we go. Axe on the mediums, GB on the softs, Ethan and Freddy on the even fresher softs, looking to get in behind. Axe has a big slip out of the final corner. That may open the door for GB if he wants the move on Axe here. And there's 4 laps remaining as Ethan picks up another time penalty, which may ruin his podium hopes. As GB looking on the rear of Axe, but he's got Ethan now for company in the Aston Martin. On the sauce, the fresh softs in behind, applying the pressure on the Alpine already. And Ethan now round the outside of GB. Can they keep it clean? Will we have more than... Will we have 4 finishers in this race? As Ethan gets through into P2. But GB could still have P2 as Ethan does have that time penalty. Yes, what now? This has been utterly horrendous. But this is the worst Tier 1 race of all time. I can comfortably say it now. But we do have one of the SSR OGs, one of the SSR champions, Axe, leading the way. Ethan sets the fastest lap, applying the pressure in behind. Freddy in behind GB as well here, looking for a move on the Alpine of GB as he switches to the inside, looking for the move on the Alpine. And Freddy now into P3. GB now touches the grass a little bit, trying to find a way back through again. Meanwhile, Ethan all over the rear of Axe with 3 laps to go in this race. Can Ethan find a way through? As GB picks up a time penalty which may cost him the podium. But Axe going defensive here. Ethan looking for a move on the McLaren and round the outside, switches to the inside. Will Ethan look to send it? Backs out of that move on the McLaren, and Axe just needs to keep it on track at this point because the drivers with the multiple penalties will lose out. Axe will be the winner, but Ethan very quick on these fresh softs, has a little slip out of the penultimate corner, but straight back on the power again out of the final corner. Still has mega grip on those fresh softs as the DRS now enabled on the penultimate lap of the race. Can that DRS now help Ethan go for the move for the lead? As Ethan now will have the DRS enabled. out of this corner for the first time following the safety car as he goes mega off track, losing the rear. And Freddy's gone off. Freddy's died as GB's crashed. As Ethan's crashed as well. What? 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 Wow, really? Did I just see what I saw? Axe is going to be the only finisher this race.
I am stupid.
I have
I am
never
stupid.
seen anything worse in my entire life.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Well, Axe has a comfortable win in the bag, but wow. And Axe picks up his first time penalty, but let's see, is there any driver close enough to spoiling the party? I don't think so. But Axe is going to be your winner in the worst race in SSR/WHF history. And like, I wish there was an animation where he's the only one on the podium, because he is the only one that should be on the podium. There's literally no one else should be on the podium. Why is GB driver of the day? Who knows? But anyway, thank you all for watching. We'll be back next week with WHF round 2, and we'll find someone to raid on our way out. Axe is your winner and your only finisher in the worst race of all time. But thank you all for watching, and let's see who we can find on our way out. Let us raid Matt and Tommy, shall we? But thank you all for watching. I've been WHFR. We'll be back next week with Tier 2 and Tier 1. But thank you all for watching, and goodbye.